Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. We're going to talk about AI art. We're going to talk about Ghibli memes. And we're going to talk about colonialism. I'm not even kidding. Yeah, apparently AI art is colonialism, according to this website, moderndiplomacy.eu. So we're going to take a look at this digital colonialism and talk a little bit more about AI art and the controversy around AI art. And, it's interesting. They're even doing residencies now to try to get people on board with AI art. And I think people that have already decided they're completely against it, their minds are not going to be changed. But I think it's it's something else to call it colonialism. You can call it theft. You can call it slop. You can call it many, many things. But colonialism is kind of a curious word to use when it comes to this stuff. So let's talk about it. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, go out to news.clownfishtv.com. That's news.clownfishtv.com for more Clownfish TV content you will not find on YouTube. And also, you've got about a week yet to get in on these pins. Orcs are a-holes. Enameled pin set. Look, we got all of these a-hole orcs here. That is going on right now at badorcs.com through BackerKit. Thank you very much for that. So let's talk about this. You know the deal. You know the Ghibli memes that have been running rampant on the internet. And maybe not so much now, but about a month ago, they were all over the place, right? Now everybody's moved on to just doing like AI video snippets or whatever. But I know a lot of people were very rankled. Can I use that word? Rankled by these, especially a lot of artists, because they're like, oh, wow, things got really good really quick, right? I think that's what the issue was. It wasn't that the Ghibli necessarily was being bastardized. I know Miyazaki apparently wasn't very happy about it, but it was the fact that the art style could be replicated so easily and effortlessly. I can't even speak. An off-the-shelf AI, right? A model, Chat GPT, what is it, like $30-40 a month? Anybody can make Ghibli art. And it used to be that this was reserved for, artists doing this, doing riffs on political figures or on current events or whatever. And now anybody with access to Chat GPT could make pretty effective memes very, very quickly. And that opened a whole can of worms, right? Like if it's that easy to make competent art, oh my God, now what? And also if it's that easy to lift a particular style, oh my God, now what? What are we going to do? And I think that's really what it was. I don't know if it was really outrage about so much about the art style being lifted. I mean, obviously Studio Ghibli might, I don't think you can copyright a style, but they might have concerns about people, assuming this is their stuff, right? Making the assumption it's their stuff, which is a bigger conversation that we're having now with the Disney and Universal lawsuit against Midjourney, is the risk of confusion with official stuff, right? Because it is so easy to make this. But now we've got accusations of digital colonialism. All right, so this is coming from Modern Diplomacy. All sides, all voices. Yeah, I bet. Recently, in late March 2025, social media platforms are being bombarded with tons of animated pictures. They're created with ChatGPT 4.0, and it's digital colonialism. They said there are two sides of coins in reflecting the uproar, the pessimists and the opportunists. The pessimists tend to debate the irony in using AI tools to create art, which intersects with ethical and philosophical discussions. Meanwhile, the opportunists believe this tool can bring a greater platform for infestation or the growth of the creative industry. There's no black and white in decision-making about which is right because there are no legal laws that regulate the field. So is this trend truly a nightmare or just a storm in a teacup, a tempest in a teapot? Is this written with AI? Or is English not her first language? The essay will then argue that Ghiblification trend powered by generative AI represents a form of cultural and technological colonialism that erodes artistic value and how it exacerbates global economic inequality. Well, I hate to break it to you. If you watched our video on animation yesterday, they're already using AI overseas. So it's kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Like they're using AI overseas. So if there is any economic inequality, it's actually American artists. They're probably on the receiving end of that because they're too expensive. And a lot of them, frankly, are too entitled. And studios and publishers are just like, yeah, we'll just kick it overseas and let the robots do it, you know? Okay, market impact. Here we go. Responding to the surging popularity of Ghiblification, the digital market rippled quite heavily, with the meme coin named Ghibli skyrocketing to 28.3 million market cap. What's that have to do with this? Okay, well, it sounds fun for crypto fanatics. This turmoil doesn't have the same impact on the creative industry. Market holders will keep an eye on the value of the coins, but not on the art itself. This is where the market met a crossroads. For whom does the market? What the fuck is that? Okay, let's go down. Okay, we're gonna get to the point here, and then we're gonna go back. What is this? Is this article written with AI? Here we go. AI colonialism. All right. Knowing who bagged the profit from the Ghiblification trend, now let's see the bigger and more nuanced picture of the upcoming future. God, this is painful to read. The immense resources and financial barriers that are required to enter the market made the AI industry shift into a broligarchy where the government is ruled by extremely wealthy men in tech companies, also known as a tech oligarchy. There are only a few industry leaders that are climbing ladders of growth. The famous ones like Meta, OpenAI, Google DeepMind, Microsoft, etc. It's impossible to establish your own AI company without merging or getting help from the big ones because of the high barrier of entry and market competition. What? Okay. Where's the colonialism? What the fuck is this? What is this? What kind of website is this? I just like, all right, it's a centralization of basically, okay, if I'm reading between the lines here, God, there are so many lines. This is painful to read. Okay. If I'm reading between the lines here, basically the big tech companies are going to have access to the good tools. They'll be able to make this art effortlessly. And we know that the real issue with Disney and Universal versus Midjourney, I think it is copyright to some degree, but I also think it's a struggle for who gets to control the tools that can make art and video easily. And I think eventually it's going to get to a place where the really good stuff is going to be so cost prohibitive. And I do agree with them there. It's going to be so cost prohibitive that normies are not going to be able to do it. Or if they do it, they're going to have to pay a ridiculous subscription or whatever. But like Disney is going to have access to the good stuff. Universal is going to have access to the good stuff. Anime studios are going to have access to the good stuff. You're going to get the leftovers via like Chat GPT or something. But the good stuff is out there. It's already out there. All right. So here we go. Everything may seem normal, but the problem is the misled value and the cultural appropriation behind it. User Good Vibe Politic on X quoted the post above saying, Miyazaki didn't come to the U.S. in 2003 to accept his Oscar for Spirited Away because of his opposition to the Iraq War. Okay, so they're dealing with this Iraq War meme here. So I have to imagine he'd be nothing short of furious to see a genocidal occupational military using Ghibli art to advertise themselves. It shows that the creator of the style itself is against the atrocities committed by warfare. The style is used to promote cute pictures of evil soldiers. It's where we draw the line. There are layers of cultural meanings and emotional depth in a single Ghibli drawing. If it's used to generate any images possible, it will diminish those values and couldn't be called art. Generating pictures with AI does not require empathy for the subject or deeper understanding of context. It will simply identify an aesthetic and then produce it as an empty signifier. See also pretty much every Hollywood movie. I'm just saying. Like, it's, oh my God. People really like, look, how is this? I guess my thing is like on some level, how is this any different than somebody lifting a style for an Artist Alley pinup or something? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm telling you, they didn't have a lot of empathy or thought behind, you know, their Ghiblified Deadpool drawing or whatever the hell it is. They were thinking, are people going to buy this? Yes or no? And that's basically it. AI is bastardizing the value and meaning of art and cultural context that Studio Ghibli represented. It's a form of colonialism. Is this a college paper? Oh my God. Yeah, here we go. Is it Unique Christie Abigail, undergraduate of international relations at, oh, for fuck's sake. Colonialism. All right. So, yeah, look, people like AI. They don't like AI. A lot of artists don't like AI. And I don't think it's because they feel that art is being undermined. I think they're looking at it as an existential threat. Rightfully so. I mean, a lot of people are not going to have jobs in the creative industries, but a lot of people will as well. Not, I mean, basically what I'm seeing AI as, and I've talked about this before, is this is going to be a way to sift out the people who really I don't think bring a lot of value to a project. Oh my God, how could you say that, Kneon? You hate artists. No, this is coming from a guy who spent most of his career working as an artist, off and on, did stuff for Disney, did a lot of different projects over the years, and still publish our own stuff today. And I'm telling you, there are a lot of people working in a lot of creative fields that do not need to be there. I think that AI is going to free up visionaries, the people who actually, drive the train, right? Those people are going to be able to do more with less and probably have more control over a project. But then again, it comes with the risks of this technology being more widely available and anybody being able to do it. But everybody has a 4K camera or an HD camera in their pocket, but not everybody's making a good movie with their iPhone, right? And some people are. Everybody has access to YouTube, but not everybody becomes a professional YouTuber, and some people are. Everybody has access to a microphone. You can go to Walmart and pick up a microphone and a computer and start podcasting tomorrow, but not everybody's going to be successful at it. You see what I'm saying? Like, just because the tools are there, just because the technology is there, doesn't mean that everybody is going to be successful at it. It means that the people who have talent will have more tools to use to get their stuff out there. And it's actually going to be, I believe, a golden age of creativity, because we're going to have a lot of people that were unable to produce, a Hollywood level production until recently, because it was just too, cost prohibitive, right? And I mean, you're not gonna be able to, scrape together $50 million or $75 million to put out a small film or whatever, but you might be able to get together, $2 or $3 million and some of your friends and use some AI to speed things up. And you actually can produce, a decent animated movie. See also Flow, which was done with Blender for $3 million and it won an Academy Award. So, I think there are some definite upsides here too. Anyway, let's talk about this. They're trying to change people's opinions on AI, and I know a lot of people are entrenched. I swear to God, they spend more time. It's kind of like the new NFT. They're spending more time fighting against AI than they are trying to figure out, like, will this actually work for me? And what am I fighting against exactly? Right? Because if you're using Photoshop or you're using almost any creative tool now, there's some element of AI embedded in it. I mean, it's here. It's here. It's already, the battle has already been lost. If you're fighting against AI and widespread adoption of it, the battle has already been lost. Now you just have to figure out, like, what can it do for me? Where do I fit in? And all this. This comes from The Verge. AI residencies are trying to change the conversation around AI art. The residencies aren't choosing sides, but they can still shift how the public views AI. They said these residencies, hosted by tech labs, museums, or academic centers, offer artists access to tools, computers, and collaborators to support creative experimentation with AI. My goal is to build a robot that could represent something more than human, something incorruptible. Residencies like this have expanded rapidly in recent years, with new programs emerging across Europe, North America, and Asia. The SETI Institute is using it. Many technologists describe them as a form of soft power. Pieces by artists who have participated in AI art residencies have been featured in MoMA, the Museum of Modern Art in New York, and also in Paris. And I have a true story. I almost destroyed a multi-million-dollar exhibit in the Museum of Modern Art back in the 90s. I went on a school field trip, and they had, I forget what it was. It was a bunch of like melded, it looked like melded plastic urns, and they were spread out. They look like almost like bowling pins. I almost knocked them over like bowling pins. I actually hit one with my shoe. I had very big feet, and this was back in the 80s, so I would have been, or I'm sorry, the 90s. Losing track of decades here. Back in the 90s, and I would have been wearing probably my Doc Marten boots, and because that's what I did back then. And I think I hit one, and yeah, I just heard boom, 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 and I got escorted out of the. It was upstairs in the museum. I got escorted downstairs, and then I almost knocked over Lily Tomlin. That also happened on the same trip. It was a very eventful day. And I think we went to Marvel Comics that day too. So a lot of things happened on that day. It was a very memorable day. Anyway, yeah, so that was my experience with the Museum of Modern Art. And I haven't been back since. I don't know if they'll let me in or not. So they said the programs are designed to select the artist, not just their work. Even if someone uses AI extensively, they must articulate their intent. It's not just about the output, it's about the authorship. The tool must be behind the human. I agree with that. This is where things are going to go. Is that somehow we're going to have to lock down, like, and we're talking styles. I think we're going to have to lock down styles somehow. And again, oh my God, guys, blockchain. But there's got to be a way to have almost like a digital thumbprint that this is this particular artist's work. And honestly, I don't think there are any ethical issues if you've trained an AI model on your own art. Your own style, and you actually can draw by hand. You're just using it to speed up your process. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, that's my personal opinion. This is coming from a guy who's been doing this for, God, 30 years now. I don't think there's any problem with it. The people who are afraid are traditional artists who are not tech savvy, or people who are just not very good. I'm going to be honest, and they know that they're going to get their asses kicked. That is my opinion on it. And, oh my God, you hate artists. I'm like, no, it's going to get a lot more competitive because now you got to compete with the machines too. And yeah, we're going to have companies, rushing into AI. I think that eventually, and I said this before, I think eventually we're going to get to a place where it's very much like, blockchain, NFTs, digital art, whatever. There's a place for it. There's a mad rush for it, CGI, whatever, but then people are going to want like actual content created by actual humans, or know that humans are actually involved in the content creation process on some level. And it's not just prompts, right? And I think that's going to be the difference. And I think this rush to just, shit out a bunch of AI stuff, I think that is going to cool down a little bit as people start to consume these products that were created with just a bunch of prompts. And they're gonna be like, yeah, this is pretty soulless, right? But if you've got an artist who's amazingly talented, maybe you've got somebody in their 70s, maybe they can't draw as well as they used to, but there's an AI model that's been trained off of their own art, and now they can still make paintings or comic books or whatever, and it's still coming out of their head. It reminds me of that one episode of Star Trek Next Generation where they kidnap all the kids on the Enterprise. I forget the name of it off the top of my head, but the one boy is doing a sculpture of, I think it's a dolphin, and he's complaining that the tool he's using is like a laser to do this dolphin. It's doing the work for him, and the teacher's like, no, it's actually coming from you. It's just you're using a tool to do whatever. And that's, I think, where we're gonna go with it. Personal opinion. Or it could become an AI infested hellscape. Skynet could take over. World Wars 3, 4, and 5 happen within the next 2 years, and because of AI art, the polar ice caps melt and we all freaking die. That could also happen, I guess. I don't know, but I think people really are being overly dramatic about it on some level. Because I'm like, I remember I've seen this before. Maybe it's just my age, but I've seen this before when we made the transition from analog to digital art. When we made the transition from 2D to 3D art. There are always going to be people left behind. But for those of you who are willing to embrace the opportunity, there are going to be a lot of opportunities for you. Opportunities you can't even imagine, I think, at this point. So that's my personal opinion. I'm going to wrap it up Please subscribe. We'll talk later. For more pop culture news, views, and rants, go to news.clownfishtv.com. That's news.clownfishtv.com.